uyo uko kuno abo bano mamuona kere nice anovura meso anovura nzeve anokaya marigi kama kweto tikom kweto tikom usasai kama kwe anokaya marigi
kamba kwe uyo anotara mari anogaya mari garai mamunzwa pane nyaya pano zvamunoda kunzwa zvinotaurwa pano madiko kumunzwa mugovane.com kamba kwe vanogaya mari vanotaura mari vanosiya mari kamba kwe vanotaura feya kuti pamberi zvichafamba sei vanhu muterere.
Right, 22 February 2022, so it's 2222, and we're talking about CCC. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, Gambakwe. How are you? A very good evening to your viewers.
Too good to be true. I think I'm enjoying myself in South Africa here. Unfortunately, something very terrible happened yesterday. I think a bunch of our people got assassinated yesterday for no reason. You saw the shooting that happened here yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I was looking at some of the videos of those people. What happened? What exactly happened?
Well, there should be an inquest into that thing, or an investigation. I don't think all those people were robbers. I think some people were caught in the crossfire and people were just shooting willy-nilly there. Because if you look at the number of firearms they recovered, it's less than 10, and there were 25 people there. So I think someone got intelligence, and then they just went in there and started shooting. The guys were not going into robbery. They were not coming from a robbery. It was just an ambush. I think something needs to be done there to separate the criminals from the guys who were just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
No, that's a sad one. Anyway, like you said, inquests will actually bring the truth to what could have happened. But definitely, criminality should not be accepted anyway by whosoever.
Yeah, the problem we have is that the narrative is that Zimbabweans are causing crime in South Africa. And this is reinforced by such incidents where it looks like 20 Zimbabweans were going out to do a robbery. I think some of these things, they cause problems for a lot of people for no reason.
Yeah.
Right, Doc, let's quickly go into this issue. Let me unpack what has been happening. Nelson Chamisa had his rally this weekend, which was attended, as I said, by between 5,000 and 7,000. I know you disagree. And then what happened is, after that, there's been a lot of debate on whether Nelson Chamisa is now resurgent, is now back to his original Chamisa that we know. You saw the headlines in the Standard. Then Chamisa has also been very, very busy. He's been working with these guys here from Mtwazi, or the guys from Bulawayo. They were busy today or yesterday trying to work out a coalition in Matabeleland. Then on Saturday, this coming Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, let me see if it's Saturday or... Okay, that was the Yellow Goku rally, right? That Yellow Goku is going to be happening. Let's remove that banner. It's going to be happening on 26 February. So Chamisa is hitting the ground running. He's going to be going to Bulawayo for another rally, from my understanding, very, very soon, where Vice President Wolfman Ngube has been diagnosed with kidney failure. So a lot has been happening this week in terms of Chamisa's party, the CCC. So we want to look at Chamisa as a person, a presidential candidate, and his party, the CCC, what is your view starting from Saturday? What do you think? Is Chamisa doing well? Did he do well this weekend?
Okay, thank you very much, Gambakwe, for those remarks and the question. But obviously, Gambakwe, you will have to indulge me a bit. I was listening to your commentary of the Sunday rally, Sunday evening. And I think there are a few things that I picked out, which probably is my response to your question today, and your observations from that rally. I think there are things that really need to be demystified, especially from your commentary. I know you have your own editorial policy, and there were so many things probably that I disagreed with your observations, with your views. Firstly, I think one thing needs to be mentioned, that the CCC Star Rally on Sunday was a resounding success. It was reverberating. It was categorical that the people of Zimbabwe sides with Nelson Chamisa. It was an unambiguous statement by the people of Zimbabwe on who they really support in opposition, in the opposition circles. Firstly, what that rally did was to clearly set a demarcation between the judicially constructed political outfit of Douglas Monzora, who for the past 2.5 years has pretended as the official opposition in Zimbabwe. Yet he is spruced up, he is supported clandestinely by ZANU-PF. And we saw his rally the previous weekend, in which less than 300 people attended. But for Chamisa, we saw tens and tens of thousands. But this from a background, what background do we have? We saw a police communication that had circulated, which clearly tried by any means that were necessary to stop that rally from going on. Firstly, they were told no buses were allowed. Yet we saw ZANU-PF's previous rally. I mean, like others have said, there were more buses than people there. I mean, we had seen, the police had also said that there was no toy-toying allowed. There were no, car drive-ins and outs which were allowed. There were so many conditions which were given, COVID regulations, that they should follow COVID regulations, in which obviously less than 100 people are allowed to gather. But besides that, over and above that, we saw the roadblocks that were set up. All that was meant to stop, to restrict that rally. Not only that, we saw that just before that, there was police brutality on some supporters of the Citizens Coalition for Change, and even an arrest on the caretaker vice president, BT, just before that political rally. So all these conditions were trying to restrict this rally. But against all odds, we saw Zimbabwe supporting Nelson Chamisa, and they restated their support in the only person that defeated President Mnangagwa in 2018. That's the first thing I think I need to mention, Gambakwe, from what has been said, even through your analysis. I want to highlight some of the things actually that you picked up. For instance, you in your analysis, you tried to show that the Trangirai factor within the CCC is useless today, that no one cares about Morgan Trangirai. Gambakwe, probably let me respond and say, in Zimbabwe, Morgan Trangirai will remain as the doyen of democracy, as the father this struggle of democracy. And for you to suggest that Nelson Chamisa should not evoke the memories of Nelson Chamisa or the legacy of Nelson Chamisa, I think it's misplaced. He will remain as part of the historical, part of the historical museum that the CCC will have to carry through. The third thing that I want to highlight is that I think in your analysis, you did not pick out that the CCC has clearly categorically said this is a new political party. And as a new political party, at the moment, they only have caretaker leaders. They do not have substantive leadership. And what they are doing, including this rally, is that they are trying to mobilize Zimbabweans as to what they are going to create. They have clearly said that they are going to announce in due course the constitution, what it says. They are going to announce the leadership, substantive leadership, obviously after the processes in which they would have consulted their grassroots. And so to suggest that they do not have structures, that they are a disorganized organization, I think again it's misplaced, and it borders on if I can say, on malice, which on statements which are not based on fact. In fact, I think they have a caretaking leadership which has done well to mobilize such a gathering. But moving further, I think one thing that happened in that political rally that I need to highlight is the speech by the CCC's president, Nelson Chamisa. Very clear, very categorical. If you can compare it with the opposite, ZANU-PF, normally you do not have issues there. President Mnangagwa in his star rally in Epworth, apart from lambasting, apart from spewing hate and violent rhetoric, the CCC rally, and particularly the speech by Advocate Nelson Chamisa, was something that probably we should highlight today in answering whether Nelson Chamisa is able to win the presidential election. Nelson Chamisa highlighted 5 things, in fact, in trying to clear the air about the CCC. The first thing is that he said it is a new political party, which people should have no doubts about, that it is not the MDC alliance. In fact, it has no links with MDC alliance at all. It is a new coalition which they are building. Secondly, he talked about one thing that is on the mind of the voter. What are they going to do with ZEC? And he clearly articulated how they are going to deal with ZEC. In fact, within his speech, he said previously they had already sent a team to inquire about the voters' roll, which is something that is in the minds of everybody. And he said they are going to deal with the issue of ZEC, the way ZEC has conducted elections, and even highlighted something that I think is constitutional, that if ZEC does not play to the game, and if the courts do not act responsibly, then they will also take their constitutional right to go and demonstrate. And demonstrations, by the way, are very, very constitutional, Gambako. So they talked, the president talked about how he's going to deal with the next election, which is actually what we will follow up to see what they are going to do. Now, he talked about the very most important thing on the minds of workers in Zimbabwe. He addressed the issue, the quagmire that the workers, the civil servants, the teachers, the soldiers, everybody, and he talked about the problems. He showed the love that he has for the worker, and he talked about how he empathizes, he sympathizes with them in the current situation. And that's what a leader should talk about. And he clearly set out a program in which he said once they get into power, once they win the election, they are going to deal with. And for me, that's a leader who talks to this, who talks to the issues rather than to talk about personalities. He made 4 declarations which were very clear, one of which he said they are definitely going to form the next government. And he clearly said strategies are in place. In due course, we'll see the strategies. And he clearly said he will lead from the front this time around. Kambakwe, I'm sure you were listening to that when he was talking about. For me, that's a leader. He gives his supporters the confidence that him as a leader is going to be up in there. The second declaration he made, which is very critical, by the way, which sets the CCC away from these other funny and pretending political parties. He set the narrative of the CCC within the liberation struggle in Zimbabwe, in which he narrated how the first Chimurenga started with the Bombuyane Handa, the Kaguvis, and the Lobengulas. He went on to the second Chimurenga, which was a struggle for emancipation from colonial rule, from colonization by the British. He went on to talk about the third Chimurenga, in which he mentioned, of course, that there were things which were done in there which were not right, but he reiterated that struggle was necessary. By the way, in 1999, it was the MDC which started the talk about a distribution of land. In fact, in their first constitution, they had highlighted about 5 million hectares of land which were supposed to be redistributed. And ZANU-PF only hijacked that program and in the end executed it with so many mistakes, so many mistakes. And the third one, which actually is of more interest to me, he said, the coalition, the Citizens Coalition, is coming in as the fourth liberation struggle. And for me, that was a takeaway, in which he says we want to put the citizens in the middle of governance, to take the citizens in controlling their own livelihoods, to take the citizens to be participators in their own development. And for me, that sets the citizens' convergence for change on a trajectory which is different from what Douglas Monzora, who have now been hijacked, who have now been swallowed up, we have now caused it up with authoritarianism, we have caused it up with the people's oppressors. So that, for me, Nelson Chamisa was very brilliant and very smart. The third declaration actually he made was that he committed to dealing with issues about elections, and I think I have talked about how they are going to deal with ZEC. And fourth and very important, he promised that he will commit to the restoration of people's human rights. Zimbabwe has suffered for long with abuse of their human rights. Human rights are all-encompassing. The right to life itself in Zimbabwe, it has been a right that people have not had. The right to education, the right to healthcare, the right to housing, the right to freedom of association, freedom of speech, with freedom even after your speech. And I think Nelson Chamisa did well in that political rally. And Gambakwe, lastly, probably in my opening remarks concerning the Sunday rally, I think Nelson Chamisa did quite very well. I liked the fact that he was invited to the stage by their caretaker organizing secretary. They didn't even mention any vice president there. They didn't mention anybody, to show you that it's still an organization which is accepting people. And like I said before, it's an organization in the making. And very soon we should see surprises when they announce who is in the leadership. And I can tell you that it will show us that it is a real coalition. Like I said last week, a coalition from all sectors, from the civil society, from the churches, from even the opposition, from the people we do not even think could be in there. And that is what we want, a coalition of citizens that will come in to lead Zimbabwe. And then to come to your question, I think it's an emphatic yes that Nelson Chamisa did quite very well. He's on the resurgence. He's on the resurgence, and he has shown all Zimbabweans, the region, and the international community that here is the best foot forward for Zimbabwe to take Zimbabwe forward from this kind of morass, this kind of mess that we have been put by ZANU-PF over the past 42 years.
Okay, Doc. I think we all agree that a typical supporter of Nelson Chamisa will not be able to de-associate themselves and look at this in a neutral way. I think the rally itself, as I said, had between 5,000 and 7,000 people. Most of those people came in lorries and trucks. And I don't want to repeat myself. I've already said my thoughts on the rally. The question that I want to ask is, and that I want us to focus on, is going forward. Is that enough? Is he getting enough people to vote him and beat President Mnangagwa? President Mnangagwa had a large crowd of his own yesterday at the Youth Day. I think you saw that. I just want to quickly show you, when we talk about crowds, what happened. Right, Doc, the point I'm trying to make is anyone that is popular in Zimbabwe can gather a crowd. That crowd that you saw there was much bigger than the crowd, the yellow crowd. The question I'm asking is this enough to win the 2023 elections? What Chamisa is doing, what he did this weekend, what he's going to do in Goku, what he's going to do in Bulawayo, are those enough? Are those things enough to win the 2023 elections?
Thank you very much for that question again, Gambakwe. I think I should say there are many fronts, obviously, on which the Citizens Coalition for Change will have to battle it out in order to wrestle power from ZANU-PF. And I've talked about the first front being dealing with the institutions that are meant to run our elections, such as ZEC, the institutions, the security forces, which are supposed to protect the peace. Are they going to be impartial? Right, number one. Number two, it is that, of course, as you rightly say, can he congregate a team of people that are thought leaders, a team of people who are strategists in order to execute whatever strategy that they would have come up with, for which I think he addressed that. But remember, the selection of leaders within a party like the CCC is a democratic party. It is about the citizens themselves choosing the people that they want. And that is the second thing. Another front, obviously, Gambakwe, that you cannot discard is about the people. Nelson Chamisa, what he has shown is that he has a general appeal to the grassroots, a general appeal to the people. I don't want you to compare with ZANU-PF crowds that we all know are rented crowds at times, and sometimes most of whom are forced because they have all they have got all the security forces. They can use all the violence to force people to go there. But more so, especially when they use this young man by the name of Java, we know very well that those are mostly young and hungry and unemployed youths who go there for their various reasons, expecting handouts, little little parcels or crumbs of food and little dollars that Passion Java, wherever he gets it from, obviously from proceeds of corruption, they give them. And those youngsters, it's said that they go for that. And you cannot say that they are going there because they have got so much love for ZANU-PF. And if one can tell me that those crowds are happy people who are coming to support ZANU-PF, then I think they need to wake up from their dream. But the fact that ZANU-PF is trying to flex crowds by whatever means, whether they are crowds that are around church people or around some so-called celebrities, it shows that they know that this election will also need a political party to show that they are supported by crowds. But now we see ZANU-PF even buses small little children. But for you to say the CCC rally, they bussed people, that is a lie. Those people you saw in lorries, those are mobilizers. Those are people who were mobilizing. That crowd you saw is a Harare crowd. The only few people that could have come are those who are in caretaker structures and had come, obviously, to give their solidarity support at that Star rally, which was a launch for the by-election. But let me tell you, Gambako, in terms of crowds, Nelson Chamisa has pived and has shown ZANU-PF that he is the game in town and that there is no one in Zimbabwe, whether they can construct a Monzora who is their puppet. Monzora is miles and miles, millions. In fact, as far as China is away from Zimbabwe, that is how Douglas Monzora, their beloved boy, is from Nelson Chamisa. Nelson Chamisa commands grassroots support, and whether people like it or not, whether commentators who can give any negative commentary can say, but the truth is out there for everyone to see. And like I told you, Zimbabweans are very clever. They are very reasonable people. And when it comes to punishing their detractors, to punishing their oppressors, they do it in style. And one of the ways is that even under difficult circumstances, against all odds, this Sunday, they came out, even though there were roadblocks. And I understand that many of them couldn't get to that rally because they were blocked. And Gambakwe, Nelson Chamisa stands as the best foot forward, as the only alternative. And we need an alternative. We do not want a one-party state in Zimbabwe. And Nelson Chamisa has kept that flame of a democratic society, of an alternative government alive in Zimbabwe. And I think he should be commended for that, rather than be attacked or be criticized to a point where we don't even see what right he is doing.
Okay, the thing about me, Doc, is I have been to a Nelson Chamisa rally. I know, in fact, I've been to many rallies of the MDC, and many people don't understand. The same people that you saw this weekend at this rally, you're going to see them in Goku, you're going to see them in Bulawayo, you're going to see them in Masvingo, you're going to see them in Gweru. This, you can mark my word, the numbers don't matter. The question that I'm asking is with regards to getting 51% or 50% plus one in the elections. And my point here is that I do not think this is sufficient, what he's doing. It's not enough. And you have raised the issue of the structures, which I don't want us to go into because I dealt with it in my last video. The question is, are we going to see Chamisa again complaining about rigging? You're already talking about Zek. When he gets beaten by ZANU-PF that is well organized, that has got grassroots structures. And if you look at someone like Jawa, Prophet Jawa, he's not what you're saying, that is someone who doesn't have a following. He's got a huge following. If we put a rally next to each other, if we say Jawa put a rally next to Chamisa, you'll be surprised we have more people. Jawa will probably have more people than Chamisa. The point I'm trying to make is the numbers don't matter. And you he
Gambako.
doesn't believe you.
Zimbabwe, I think right now, on that note, I need you to wake up and smell the coffee. What I am saying, I mean, is that Gambakwe, you have to understand that in politics, Nelson Chamisa is the champion now. And if you talk about, is he going to complain about rigging or about this and that? We all know Nelson Chamisa won the last election. And on the 1st of August, we know what happened. We know what happened, which led the killing of people, which led to the Motlanthe Commission. And that was to suppress the truth that was known, who has won this election. There is no doubt, not even in ZANU-PF's mind, if ZANU-PF as an institution has a mind at all, that they know who is going to win this election. There is no doubt that even after all the attempts to decimate, to destroy, to annihilate the Nelson Chamisa's brand, the idea that they realize that now he has come out of all this mess. Now Douglas Monzora has nothing to say. The CCC is a new thing, in town and with new strategies. And they are aware that this citizen coalition, it probably involves people who are within their own structures there, because they are fed up of that system, because I realize you like the system so much. They know that this citizens coalition, it is about all the citizens. Even those in ZANU-PF are part of the citizens. Everybody is a citizen. Even those who are close to the corridors of power, they are citizens. And those strategies will come out. And I believe it's what I'm seeing. And I've said it last year when we talked about Jonathan Moyo the other time, that I foresee a grand alliance, a grand coalition. And this grand coalition is the newest idea, which puts citizens in the middle, which put the citizens in the center. And I can assure you, Gambakwe, from what I see, from the new energy, from the resurgence that I see from the CCC, I don't foresee anything short of victory. But we know what an authoritarian regime can do. We had even the president, a whole president of a country, responding to the yellow rally of Sunday. He clearly said, I was listening to him, which means President Mnangagwa listens to Nelson Chamisa. He waits for the yellow rally to listen to what he is saying. And he did say that. And you know what he said? He said, we are waiting for them to kuvarakasha. And we know what that means. Said, isn't it? Those are the threats, Gambako, we should be talking about. To say, Nelson Chamisa is talking about issues on one hand at his rally. He is preaching peace. He is preaching development. What does the whole president who has been there for the past 42 years do? He talks about how they are planning for them, how they plan to beat them up, to brutalize them probably. How sad is that? That's what we should be talking about. Because if the environment in Zimbabwe will give the yellow revolution, which has all of a sudden hit Zimbabwe, an equal chance, an equal opportunity to campaign, to mobilize. Let's have a fair environment of an election where the media is fair, the public media, the public broadcaster is fair, where the electoral laws are fair, where you know the resources, the state resources are not used to spruce one political party over the other. Let's see who is going to win this election. Let us see. The young people of Zimbabwe, I'm sure, in this by-election are going to make that statement on the 26th of March, and they will do it again by July or August next year when a watershed harmonized election will take part. And I think those answers will be there for you, Gambakwe. And I can foresee from this just a single rally that was held on Sunday, what Zimbabweans are planning. And we shall see even in other rallies that are prepared all over the country. In fact, these rallies, they are saying they are grassroots consultation rallies, which will lead up to the real launch of the CCC. And we await to see that that launch. And I can assure you, without roadblocks, Gambakwe, without these funny regulations which are given by the police, me and you, we want to be at that rally, and let's just count numbers if we can do it head by head. I can assure you that it will be something such as never been seen.
Okay, Doc, I think you have said a lot, and I think the point is made. And as I always say to guys, I wish ZANU-PF would give me money, you know, like everyone says. Like, honestly, the thing about me is I want to see both sides, and I want to give people an honest opinion or assessment.
Yes.
The truth is, as far as I'm concerned, ZANU-PF right now is much stronger than CCC. They are doing much better. Their structures are stronger. And this is not for me to campaign for anything from ZANU-PF. Like, I hear guys saying, Gambakwe wants land from ZANU-PF. I don't want land from ZANU-PF. I don't want anything from ZANU-PF. But if someone like Hopo is getting a 4x4 from mysterious sources, right? Maybe I must just go to ZANU-PF and get something. Because it seems like guys in Zimbabwe, they want a journalist that supports one side. I don't want us to be like that. And I think that's one of the weaknesses of the CCC guys. They don't want to have an honest assessment. There are obviously areas where Chamisa is strong.
Gambakwe, I think just to cut you there, honestly, obviously, there are times when I look at some comments which I don't approve of at all, which are quite very, very obscene. And even in Zimbabwe, we want to create those kind of comments should not even be seen or should not be said. But Gambakwe, you are the guys in the media. Sometimes balanced media sees advantages, disadvantages, the bad, the good, the positives, the negatives in everything. But probably some of them who are frustrated by a system in Zimbabwe, when they see you or they hear you day in and day out, probably talking that about the good of ZANU-PF, saying ZANU-PF is strong. Because Gambakwe, you are watched by a whole lot of people. In fact, let me tell you that the people that communicate with me, the people that talk to me, that even say, Doc, please talk to Gambakwe. Can you ask this question to Gambakwe? There are so many. And I can assure you that this media platform, people can underestimate it at their own peril. And you also may underestimate your reach at your own peril. You are listened to, Gambakwe. You are probably one of the media platforms that people wake up to. But there are times when they want to hear their hopes being raised, their aspirations being trumpeted. But if they hear you sometimes speak well of their oppressors, of ZANU-PF day in and day out, sometimes they get frustrated. So let's just say it's not out of hate, but probably out of frustration. But to those people out there, they must also understand that that is the working of the media. We cannot all be a choir which sing this similar song. In fact,
I want to summarize that for you, Doc. I'm not hopeful. I want to summarize that for you in that way. I'm not hopeful. I'm not Simbachi Kanza. Those guys, they've totally lost their way. The way that they have become one-sided, they are now a problem.
But that's what you have become. Gambakwe, probably that's what they see you have become.
But I'm allowing you here to talk. I'm allowing you.
Okay.
Doc, you've been talking for the past 1 hour. supporting
All right.
Chamisa here. Go now and ask Hopo to give a ZANU-PF person a chance to talk, or Simbach Kanza. Those guys, they are a problem. They don't see both sides of the facts. So when ZANU-PF win, they will be surprised because we are telling them Chamisa his party is disorganized. It's not formed. It's not strategic. It doesn't have a plan. And ZANU-PF is formed. It's structured. It's got grassroots structures. It's doing a lot. These are facts that we're putting on the table. And these guys are busy spreading misinformation and misleading the people on Chamisa's side. That's journalism. Journalism sees both sides. I challenge those guys to bring ZANU-PF people and allow them on their platform to talk because we want to create a society that is acceptable or accepting of the other sides, of other views. You cannot have a society where the only good thing that you can ever say is about one side. What is the wrong thing that Chamisa is doing? What are the weak parts of Chamisa's strategy? What is wrong with not having a constitution, with having candidates that have been in office for over 20 years? Those are the kind of things that we also want to hear. And I think that is where Chamisa's people, they are failing to get this, that they are hearing only one side. When we tell them only 5,000 people in that rally, go and check the guys who are picking the numbers right now from Chamisa's side. They will tell you this. That stadium was not carrying more than 5,000 to 7,000 people.
No, Gamba. I think let's not even go there. At the institution at which I work, there is we have got upwards of about 1,500 people that are there, and I can tell you that when we gather, it is just a little corner there. For you to suggest that those numbers were anything even less than 50,000 without a verification, a verifiable source, I think that is exactly where those people who oppose you or who are negative would say, where is he getting this? What?
Okay, look at the screen, Doc. Look at the screen.
You know what, Gambako, you must understand that even as you put this picture, it may say nothing, but those are big numbers, Gambako. We have already seen aerial pictures of that place. And that place, we know what its capacity is. Gambako, those people were upwards of 50,000 and more. Those are the kind of numbers that this political rally had. And this, I told you, despite the police roadblocks, despite what the police had already circulated as threats, because some obviously were intimidated to say it could turn out to be ugly and violent, and they didn't come. But those who braved to come, Gambakwe, those numbers were huge. They were historic. They were, if you like, unprecedented since the time of Mugabe in 1980. And there is no doubt about that. But if you can then try to say those numbers are within something like 5,000, which Douglas Monzora is saying were the numbers at his own rally. Gambako, what are you talking about? Who's fooling who here? Douglas Monzora says his rally, his mega rally, which obviously, if you had head counted to it about 300 people, he claims those were 5,000. And you are telling me that Nelson Chamisa rally had between 5,000 and 7,000? Then one needs to be taught enumeration again, counting itself, basic counting.
Okay. The point I'm trying to make is these numbers in a stadium, to me, they don't make a big difference. The big difference comes from what happens, especially on convincing the youths, the women, the rural people. And I don't think Chamisa, without a structured party, can do that. And I want to show you one thing that these guys have been doing right. Doc, I'm a very balanced person.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the Goku rally. That is a masterstroke. I'm sure that you agree with me that this is something that is going to make a big impact on Chamisa's chances. If he was to do a Goku rally, if he was to do a rally in these other provinces. But Chamisa should also admit that he's not being blocked. They're allowing him to have his rallies.
No.
They're not jamming his network. He's having his rallies, right? He's moving around. Then the other good thing that they're doing...
Gambakwe, I think on that, let's put the facts right, Gambakwe. If you say they are not restricting him, they are not stopping him, put up that letter from the police right there for your viewers to see. Let's see all
that's conditions. Those are conditions. I'm saying those are... But when you say they...
Did we see that with ZANU-PF's Epworth a rally? Did we see that with the ZANU-PF Marondera rally?
I'm not speaking for ZANU-PF. All I'm saying to you is that Chamisa was able to do his rally. And now he's going to go to Goku.
Against a restrictive, very restricting environment, intimidating information, intimidating roadblocks, which apparently we hear they were even searching for the CCC regalia. And you say that is not restricting the CCC from freely mobilizing?
No, there's no CCC regalia. If right now, Doc, you started a business printing CCC regalia, you become a millionaire. There's nothing. The shop of CCC is online. They don't have a place where they sell regalia. So you know the tendency of CCC is to be people who like to complain. I think we need to dismiss all these issues of ZANU-PF stopping CCC. They must admit that they are free to do their campaigns. You will see them in Goku now. They will go to Goku, they will do their campaign. No one is going to stop them. All I'm saying is there are good things that Chamisa is doing. For example, you saw what they're doing with the young people, right? This young man I'm showing you on the screen.
Yeah,
I've been showing this on purpose.
Okay.
This is a very powerful campaign. This young man is probably 18 or 19. A picture like this, which they're circulating. The boy was probably just wearing his t-shirt and moving about doing his own business.
This is Ja Preza's son.
Yeah, he was minding his own business, doing whatever he's doing. But they're taking these yellow shirts, and wherever they see a yellow person wearing a yellow shirt, even if they see Gambako wearing a yellow shirt, they will take him and put him out. So they're doing the marketing of it. They've been doing very well, right? So the two things that I can give to them, they're also doing well in terms of forming coalitions. I don't know if you watch this. They've gone to Matabeleland now, and during this weekend, they are going to have a meeting of all Matabeleland groups to come under CCC. That is good. That's a strategy, right? Now we're talking strategy. We're no longer talking. And the person who was leading this was Abednego Bebe. You remember Abednego Bebe was trying to approach Thokozani Kupe last week. So now we're starting to see the formation of a strategy. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about. Chamisa, initially and previously, we have criticized him for lacking a strategy, for failing to form a coalition, and for failing to have grassroots structures. So what is left now is grassroots structures, and also we want to see a proper political party without the dead wood, the people that are dead, people like E.T., people like
I think before you go further, I think quite good observations. I think constructive for a political party that is trying to rise from the ashes of state decimation. I think by your own admission, now you realize that the choice of the yellow color after all was a masterstroke by your own admission, because you just said that they are doing well in their advertising. And I think I would say that's quite good for you to say that. And now look, you are talking about deadwood. I don't know who you, I heard you from your analysis last week. Let me just pick one or two of them. Tendai Biti, you know very well why he was recalled and why it, even after the court has said he must go back, that he is one person that has unearthed massive, very massive corruption in Zimbabwe through the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament. And we know very well how he has worked as a finance minister, that he became one of the best finance ministers in Africa, if not in the world, actually. And we know that Tendai Biti is a thought leader, and you know very well, he's a thought leader. He has statecraft. He has the craft competency to run the state in the finance sector. And there is no doubt about that. So for anyone to come here and say the Triple C is deadwood, for me, it is out of question. Let's talk about a few people you are talking about. Welshman Ncube. I wish him quick recovery. I heard he was diagnosed with kidney infection. When he was in the industry ministry, we saw the resurgence of industry in Zimbabwe. Even I come from the Midlands there. Zimasco was one of the biggest companies there. Under his leadership, despite ZANU-PF trying to, put spanners in the way, he's one of the people that was helping to resuscitate industry. And we know that industry was on its way up until the completion of the GNU. And for you to say that it's deadwood, I've heard you talk about people like Secretary Wende, and I think he won in an election in the previous party. He was that popular, and I think he has done well as an administrator of the previous party, and as a caretaker now, I'm sure people can redeploy him. I mean, I could talk of many leaders, but again, I heard you suggesting for the CCC who to put as vice president, that if they put, that's undemocratic, Gambako. Let the Triple C go through their processes. They are just saying they are a new party formed on the 24th of January. They are hardly a month and 2 weeks old. They are a new kid on the block. I know people are still accusing them of their association with the MDC Alliance. Forget about the MDC Alliance. This is a new political party. They've said you can join it as well. Let them form their structures with time. They still have that time. And at the right time, let them create strong institutions within their party, so within their movement, so that we do not have implosions such as were in the MDC. And I think they are on the right path. They are on the right path. And once we give them time, we shall see how things unravel. And I'm sure, for me, let me tell you why I give such commentary. For me, it is good when a country has a healthy opposition. It's an alternative. It should keep the government of the day on its toes. It should give alternative ways of governance. It should give alternative ways of treating its citizens. And if such opposition is treated as an enemy of the state, as a banned organization, it's a very sad, very, very sad thing that all of us, all Zimbabweans, should speak against. Even those in ZANU-PF, they should dare say to their leaders, no, it's not right to treat our own opposition like that. I want a country in which President Mnangagwa and Advocate Chamisa can, when it comes to national events, when it comes to national issues, they can converge. And when it comes to politics, because politics is what it is, they can differ in terms of their philosophy, in terms of their approaches to various things. But for us to have a situation in which the only opposition is treated like an enemy, it's unacceptable.
Okay, can I quickly play you the fruit portion which everyone has been asking for?
Okay.
Kudya banana, kudya yel, kudya roro, kudya yel, kudya zai, kudya yel, kudya koko, kudya zese, kananewe, kudya yelo, diriwe yelo, kuriwe yelo,
Italiano, 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 Italiano,
Gambakwe, that is what we call, it's what we call comic relief. It's called comic relief. And I think that was smart. That was a very smart, in advertising and public relations, that is a masterstroke. And I think that goes to show you how Nelson Chamisa resonates with the young, resonates with the the young people that are I mean, look, everybody sang along, and you don't want to be bored at such a political rally. So for me, that is fantastic comic relief at a political rally such as that, which was well attended.
Okay, Doc, I think my discussions with you, they're always very interesting to me because I live in a democratic country.
Yeah.
In the country where I live in, no one cares about a person as an individual. A president here that normally doesn't finish his term. Here, there are very few presidents who finish their term because people look at issues. In Zimbabwe, people tend to look at personalities. For example, when I look at Tendai Biti, I feel a deep sense of sadness for someone who stays for so long as an MP. When I look at Job Scala, I don't see potential. When I look at Karenyi Kore, I don't see how she can be a president of such a big party. When I look at Wende, I was standing right next to Wende in Masvingo. I feel sorry for myself to even have been an MDC supporter at that particular time. My feeling is that the MDC previously and the CCC as it is right now lacks the capacity to win an election in Zimbabwe. That is my feeling, and they have to prove me wrong. I'm one of those people.
We all have feelings, Kambakwe. We all have feelings, you know. And
yes.
and if we go by our feelings, sometimes we may miss it. And you are talking about personalities versus issues. Exactly my point, Kambakwe, that I always try to raise and say. The Zimbabwean administrators, starting from President Mugabe, now it has been taken by President Mnangagwa. They have created a culture of strong men. We are in this not because of our liking. It is because that's what they've done. President Mugabe treated us like he owned us, like Zimbabwe was his fiefdom. It was like he is the chief and we are the subjects, not as citizens who have a democratic right to their rulership. And President Mnangagwa is doing the same, in which challenging the current strong men is something that should not be done. So Zimbabweans are in this mindset. But when we have a charismatic leader like Nelson Chamisa, who is trying to change that kind of mindset, he has to start from there. People have to like him. Otherwise, if we do not have a charismatic leader, then this idea might die itself. But what they are doing is that they are trying to change that kind of or thinking by saying, now we are putting the citizens first. Now we are going to say, citizens, choose your leaders, and we are going to follow up on that. Will they be able to do it? But for me, that is the kind of mentality, the kind of wisdom that we need with this new generation of leaders that move us away from that old system in which our leaders are the alphas and omegas. They are the strong men, and we only look up to them, and then we run away from issues. So that's why, for me, Triple C, in fact, with Nelson Chamisa, I sometimes I respect them in that when they come on the podium, he talks in clear and categorical terms that here are the issues I'm going to talk about. They talk about the issues. What do they intend to solve? What do they intend to change if they were to come into government? And that separates them far away from ZANU-PF, far away from ZANU-PF. But what do you hear in ZANU-PF rallies? A whole lot of hate speech, violent speech. And for me, sometimes, I mean, what do you take from that? So yes, you are right. You stay in a very democratic country where Malema can say whatever he wants without fear, and he is allowed that. He can say it in parliament, he can say it at a presser, he can say it anywhere. Opposition parties in South Africa, in fact, to a point where the president of the country allows coalitions within municipalities, and you live in such municipalities where there are coalitions in which the president respects those in opposition as government of a municipality. But in Zimbabwe, what do we have? Once opposition gets into a municipality, they find a way to decimate it, to discredit it. They find ways to pull the rug out of it. For what? For political reasons, so that they can win the political election tomorrow. I mean, a political election tomorrow rather. And it doesn't help us. So they won't give the MDC the leeway. That's why you see even ministers, they interfere in the running of councils. The minister of local government, You see mayors of Harare, they've been fired left, right, and center. And you wonder why is the interference? It's because they do not have the culture that an alternative government, it is for the people. That's what the people want. So I think we should praise the Citizens Coalition in that. If any, this is the greatest idea so far that has come from those people, that let's see how the citizens can be put back, and the politicians work for the citizens, not the other way around. The politicians become servants to the citizens, not the other way around. The politicians can listen when they are no longer wanted, and not them to command the citizens on what to do. So if there is any idea that has come from Zimbabwe right now, which you, Gambakwe, and myself should celebrate and should encourage and should guide, it is the idea that the citizens should be put at the center of the governance of that country. And I think for me, without fear of being conflicted, I think this is an idea that people should support. This is an idea that the young people should carry and run away with to the rural areas, to the remotest parts of our country, and let's see the change of governance in our country.
Okay, but also if we raise points on what needs to be done to create a successful opposition party, I'm sure the guys should also be listening. Personally, I always bring you back to the point that I have on 2 occasions been thrown out of MDC or CCC events. And that level of intolerance is right there within CCC. Don't take it as if the guys in CCC, they totally understand and are democratic and everything is perfect. I think our politics in Zimbabwe is not at the level where we need it to be. It's not ZANU-PF. The problem is not ZANU-PF. I always say this to guys. The problem is the nature of the politics in Zimbabwe. The coalitions that we are talking about are not possible, even among the opposition in Zimbabwe, because everyone wants to be the leader. You saw what happened when Nkosana came. He flatly refused to work with the Nelson Chamisa, and yet he didn't have a properly structured party. Similarly, we're having Chamisa now, who doesn't have a structured party, and he's refusing to work with everyone else. You can see that no one is in the opposition is working with Chamisa. He's working by himself.
No. Gambako, I don't think that is true. And first and foremost, let me just say the difficulty of alliances in the opposition. I think we have seen it from the point of view of infiltration, in which leaders who were expected to carry the democratic struggle, hobnobbing with those in power, and we've seen those from the times of the Chaivas, who we later understood were operatives themselves, and we have people like Monzora. The way they are working, you could see that they were moles within that political party. You don't talk when you talk about Nkosana Moyo. He is ZANU-PF himself. And so for him to refuse to work with Nelson Chamisa, we can only think that, no, he is working for his masters. But to say Nelson Chamisa doesn't want to work with anybody without justifying that, without giving evidence, it's also wrong. Because as far as I know, Nelson Chamisa is firstly called for dialogue. He was the first to talk about dialogue after the 2018 election. When they were having issues with Madame Coupe, he traveled even to Bulawayo to try and talk to Madame Coupe. I mean, let's give him a chance. Let's give the young man a chance. He has tried against all odds, but you must understand that he has got a difficult task of uniting the opposition, uniting the whole country, in fact, and also of protecting the movement from hyenas who would want to tear it apart. So he is in that quagmire, and he work it through the experiences that he get. But for now, I think they have gotten a restart. And Gambakwe, please, I'm sure the CCC understand that it's a new party. Ask for accreditation in their own events. Let me hear if they've chased you out. I can assure you that I think you are associating them with the MDC Alliance. No, go to Douglas Monzora. Douglas Monzora is MDC Alliance, and he will show you his. I think the CCCC is a new thing, and let's give them a chance. And don't mention them as an unstructured party. They are 1 month old. They are mobilizing. They are building an organization, a movement. Give them the chance. They are structured. They have caretaker leaders right now. And remember, they are not going to lay out their strategy in the public to all of us, because they have learned the hard way how their opponents work, that they then put spanners, they will then try to disrupt. They are disruptive. So trying to run away from that is their strategy. And probably we will only see their strategy on stage. So let's give them time.
Doc, I want to end with this. Feddious Mutenheri, when she was contesting as an independent, we did some analysis on the map, and we showed her that she was going to lose. I'm sure she still remembers this. The reason why she was going to lose is she was going against Chamisa and his party, the MDC Alliance. And I'm sure she remembers when we did the calculations for her. For Chamisa, I'm doing this prediction. I've given this prediction before. If ZANU-PF continues the way they are doing now, and Chamisa continues the way he's doing now, he's going to lose by at least 10% in the 2023 elections. That's why we always come up with all these. I'm sure every week.
Do you mean they are going to rig by almost 10%?
No, not rigging. I'm talking about actual losing because of the numbers. Chamisa is going to lose. And this all the international bodies have the people who do surveys and calculations. They've already said this. Chamisa at the moment, currently, with the way he has structured his party, cannot attract young females, cannot attract youths, cannot attract people from the rural areas. That's where my point is. When I was saying this, he's not yet there. And the issue of structuring is at the top. Because you can't move around with the old MDC and then you refuse to say this is not the old MDC. That's the point I'm making.
But again, that is a point. Of course, you are free to, you are allowed to make such an assessment. But why don't you listen to the party when it says it hasn't even launched, it is still building, and leaders, Gambakwe, leaders that have been there for the past 20 years, they represent institutional memory, institutional wisdom, and Nelson Chamisa as a brand himself cannot just throw away those people he has worked with and who have shown their capacity in various roles. And I think as they continue to build, we shall see a very strong movement which is broad-based, which takes into account the various sectors of our society. And contrary to your prediction, I think CCC is going to win with a landslide. First, in the by-election, and secondly, in the harmonized election of 2023.
Okay, Doc, I think let's end it here. It's been a very interesting discussion. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
I just want to congratulate the CCC. I think they did quite a very fantastic and fantastic job. It was resounding. Whatever they did reverberated, resonated with the generality of Zimbabweans. They are keeping the fire of opposition, the fire of an alternative, the fire of democracy, which is what we yearn for in the country. So I want to congratulate them and to just say to them, keep that fire burning, entrench democracy, first within your new movement, and then in Zimbabwe when you get into power. And to the people out there, continue to register to vote and contribute and participate in the development of our country. Thank you, Gambakwe, for always inviting me.
Thank you very much, Doc. We'll see you again next week.
All right, Gambakwe, thanks.
Kudya banana, kudya yel, kudya roro, kudya yel, kudya zai, kudya yel, kudya popo, kudya zese, kananewe, kudya yelo, diriwe yelo, kuriwe yelo, ita yelo, tema yelo, mata yelo, kwese yelo, yelo yelo.
Ay, 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 uyo, uko, kuno, apo, pano.